welcome to Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I'm Pannon.
I'm V-Fire.
And I'm David.
David.
Yay! We survived Banzai.
Yay!
Yay! I'm still recovering.
Oh my goodness. And super excited to bring you guys some episodes that'll be covering for next few weeks, I think, that are like different panels we hosted with a slew of amazing people. Just very excited for you to get to that content. As always, if you guys at home want to reach out to us, you can do that at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or
you can go to the website and fill out the googly Google form at cosplaystitchandseam.com or
go to the Facebook page and send us your message there. And while you're there, join our fantastic group for our Work in Progress Wednesdays. Even at our panels, they were talking about how great our Facebook community was. So take a moment, pat yourself on the back. And while you're on the internet, if you want to help out the show, there's so many different ways that you could do that. You can share the podcast with a friend, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, on Podchaser, Audible, wherever they let you, and we will even give you a shout out on the show. And if you've got a couple of bucks and you want to send those our way, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/cosplaystitch.
Woo!
For $3 a month, we will give you a repeating shout out on the show, and for $5 a month, we will invite you to Cosplay Chronicles.
I could actually lean into the mic this time. I mean, I guess I could do that every week, but
We usually play the first Sunday of every month, and then at the end of the month, or before our next session, we've released the audio, so it's not locked behind a paywall forever.
you just get exclusive
if you are on
access.
our Patreon, you can watch us be complete goofs live and in real time,
Yes.
which is a lot of fun.
Watch as I struggle because I know I'm being recorded. Don't forget about our community project. We've had a couple submissions for it, and they're super duper epic. Get your cosplay photos in, along with your credit for yourself for cosplaying whatever amazing character you're doing, as well as credit for the photographer, so we can showcase those amazing photographers out there by October 31st. You can email those to us to the cosplaystitchandseam@gmail, or you can do the Google form and send us a link that way.
Lots of ways.
All the ways.
All the ways.
All the ways.
And
Do you know the way? I don't.
No. And speaking of bonsai, we also got to see in person FoxBeautyCosmetics.com's booth, run by Winter Fox, of course, and that's Fox with 2 X's, beautycosmetics.com. They even let us use the promo code Stitch and Seam at the booth to get 10% off their purchase, which was amazing. So shout out to them for that. And they have a brand new line of lip glosses, and I bought a bunch. I'm really excited to try out.
Please tell me how those turn out
I
for
know,
you.
I'm really excited.
I want the eyeshadows. The new eyeshadows.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, I was going to wear them at the con, but we had masks on the whole time.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was
It's
like,
like,
I don't want to gloss the back of my mask, but I'm using this at my next shoot.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's our episode today?
This episode is going to be body positivity.
Oh, I love this one.
Oh, this is a good panel.
It was so good.
Yeah,
It was so
yeah.
good. There is a couple audio hiccups here and there, so we do ask for this one, just bear with us. I apologize in advance,
Aw.
but giving you the heads up now.
This panel, the guests for it were Midnight Pursona, Winter Fox, and Holli Batali Cosplay. So go check them out. They're amazing, wonderful people, beautiful people, and I plan on having probably each of them back on the podcast at some point to talk more about their
Yay.
topics, because
Yay.
they have just beautiful stories and are beautiful people.
I started following Midnight Persona's TikTok, and
Oh my
they
gosh,
post
it's so
fantastic
fun.
stuff. So much
fun.
good stuff.
Top tier.
Oh.
All right. Welcome, everybody. This is one of my favorite panels that I love doing every year at Banzai, minus last year. Dang it. So this is our body positivity and diversity panel in cosplay. And I'm really excited because we have some amazing guests for this this year. So, so quick introductions. So us three over here, we are moderating this panel, and those three over there are our special guests. We are the Cosplay Stitch and Seam. Do the thing.
Huh?
I'm Pannon.
Oh, I'm Pannon.
I'm V-Fire.
And that's not me. I'm David as well. Yeah.
Yes. All right, and then over here we have, let's just start with the closest.
I'm Tifa, Holli Batali Cosplay.
I'm Daniel, I'm Winter Fox Cosplay.
I'm Kalika, and I'm Midnight Pursona.
Yay!
For starters, our first question for our lovely panelists is, how did you word that question?
Well, first of all, like, tell us a little bit about yourself, what got you into cosplay, but also tell us why body positivity is so important to you.
Yes.
And we'll start reverse order this time, Kalika at the end.
Oh,
Yes.
God. I've been cosplaying since basically 2009, and I just already knew how to sew, walked into a convention for the first time and went, oh, we can actually use this skill for something cooler than making socks. So I started making my own cosplays and doing fun stuff like that. Body positivity and diversity is very, very important to me because I want to show other people like me that it's cool to just have fun and dress up and enjoy your favorite characters without having to feel like you have to be exactly like them or be perfect to a T to that character. As long as you love the fandom and love the character, that's all that matters.
I've been cosplaying since, I think it was the first Salt Lake Comic Con, 2013, 2014 time era. It's been so long. I actually got into it because my mom got me Christmas tickets to go to FanX, and it was kind of one of like the biggest, oh, this is so exciting. And she'd also got me a Roxas cosplay from Kingdom Hearts 2, because I just adore Roxas. And just like being there in the costume and just kind of getting to meet other fans and just seeing everybody else in their costume just kind of sparked inspiration to keep going and kind of like learn new skills like sewing and foam craft and just kind of resin making things, like just a bunch of different stuff. I like to do a lot of different things. I get bored with one and move to the next one. And body positivity, I can talk, I promise. Body positivity is something I still currently struggle with. I mean, a couple years ago, my entire left half of my face went paralyzed and I couldn't like move it at all. I wore masks all the time because it was just one of those things that I kind of struggled with. And it's kind of one of those things, like Kalika was saying, I want to show other people who have, the same concerns or same things that I go through, that it's okay to just go out there and do things.
I've been cosplaying since about 2009, 2010, somewhere in there. And I just, I thought the only time you could dress up was Halloween, so I was really into Halloween. And then they were like, oh, you can do this, but you can be a weeb about it. You can dress up as anime characters. And I was like, I'm going to do this all the time. And it's, I'm still having the same amount of fun with it, if not more, over a decade later. It's such a fun hobby. You can just, sky's the limit. Body positivity is so important, because especially when you start cosplaying, there's this sort of pressure of, I don't look exactly like the character. I'm not, I don't have the crazy long anime legs, and I don't have, I'm not as skinny or something, and so should I even try? And, it's, when you go out and you see other people who, have different body shapes and, different everything, then you're like, oh, I can still do this. I can still have fun. It's okay that I'm not typecast as this character. As long as I love the character, that's all that I need.
Thank you guys so much. So one of the things that I think comes up a lot with the body positivity, I've seen online opinions of like, why do we keep needing this? Why is it so important? And so I really appreciate hearing from y'all. And I think one of the things is that a lot of people don't realize just how many obstacles there are. So I wanted to ask each of you, like, what are some of the obstacles you've had to overcome? Like, what with someone who's maybe not of color or of average weight or able-bodied, what do they probably not even realize you're dealing with? I'll go ahead and start with Tifa.
I think one of the struggles that people don't often think about is pre-bought cosplays do not have a wide variety of sizes.
No, they don't.
And it's not something you think about if you fit into those. And if you do, I am very happy for you. I genuinely am. Please enjoy it. But, sometimes, that's why I started making costumes, is because that's the only thing that would fit. And, just little things, especially if you are not completely able-bodied, like I'm type 1 diabetic and I have a pump. And it's hard to find places to put an insulin pump in costumes without waistbands and with crazy seams. So it's all these little things that you have to think of that, might not be the first thought of a lot of people.
I'm not super sure how to answer that question because a lot of times, like with pre-bots, I end up just getting them and this is a pre-bot and it definitely does not fit me the right way. But you know what? I'm having fun, so that's what it is. I think the biggest thing is just kind of, for me, more or less time management. I've gotten a lot more mobility back in the left half of my face. I still can't use this eyebrow, but you wouldn't be able to tell because I covered it today and messed up my eyebrow. But it's okay. A lot of it's just kind of like being okay with myself and kind of putting myself out there a little bit more and kind of finding it within myself to be able to go out publicly, as Todoroki or, Wanda from WandaVision, just kind of believing in myself more than I don't know how to finish that sentence. I started and then my brain thought, gone. It's more or less like being okay with how people see you rather than caring about what their opinions are going to be. Because in reality, it's my opinion that matters the most. Am I happy in this costume? Do I feel good in this costume? Both of those answers are yes, so put them on, and I'm here.
So for me, it's hard to answer this question without going on for days. Because the obstacles are if you're not noticed, I am plus size and black. And honestly, anytime I put on a costume, especially a popular character, someone has to remind me that I am not the color of the character. I constantly get those comments, and if not more, fat comments. So it's like trying to filter that out, going through my day, and just kind of doing what I love without having that get to me. Even, funny enough, on the ride here, I got a comment that was also not very nice about I cosplay Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. And someone was like, oh, before liposuction, Sally. And it was like, okay, that was unnecessary. And it's always strangers. So it's the obstacles of constantly having someone remind you, did you know you don't look nice kind of thing? Even though I know I look great. I know I'm beautiful, but it's getting past that. That's a very, very large obstacle because
also,
it's
damn right you're beautiful.
And dealing with the racism and the fat phobia and all that stuff when I'm just putting on a costume, so there's really no need for it, but people feel like they need to insert themselves into your life, and it's always people who don't cosplay. It's always people who aren't a part of these, and then when it is a part of the fandom, it's harder to get past that obstacle, because it's like, we're supposed to be like family here. We both like Hero Academia. Why are you talking about, I don't belong kind of thing, So that's always a very big obstacle, is reminding myself that I belong in these spaces no matter what people tell me.
Nice. Thank you. That actually...
Yeah, ties into our next question. I really want to hear your stories for advocating against discrimination in any form against, not being able-bodied or plus size, all those things. I want to know your guys' stories for that and how you've advocated against discrimination.
And also,
Yes.
if you have advice for how your friends and loved ones can be better allies and help against discrimination, that would be awesome advice too.
Yes.
So, we'll go reverse order again. So I'll start with Kalika.
As for advocating, my form of advocation is being here and doing it regardless of what people say. Because I hope that when people see me being as different as I am, they'll understand, oh, I can do it too. It's fine. This person looks great. So obviously, I'm going to look good too. Funny enough, I think I have that face where I'll go places randomly, like Michael's, Joanne's, or just places, and they'll be like, oh, what are you doing? And I'll talk about that at cosplay, and they'll be like, oh, I wish I could cosplay. And I'm like, why aren't you? And they're like, well, I mean, I'm like, no, stop. Right there, stop. That doesn't mean anything. If you like cosplaying or you like the idea of it, go for it. Can't afford it? Goodwill, thrift, pick up stuff from your closet. If you like sewing, use that talent. So I kind of have people draw to me, and then I sit there and I go into mother mode, and I start going, no, baby, it's sweet, it's okay. Put on the costume, you'll look good, just put it all together, and you're fine. Especially a lot of younger black kids who will be like, I just really wish I could look like the character, and I'm like, you look like yourself, and you look just as great as everybody else. Bring more flavor to the character, being you. As for family and people advocating, I look at things in a kind of, so being a huge like D&D nerd and things like that, I'll kind of be like, you can be like the cleric and the support, or you can be like the fighter or the rogue, where you take the offensive. When you see people being knocked down and attacked, you jump in, you report that person, you know, talk for them, you be like, yo, get out of here, we don't need you in our spaces, we don't take that here, that's not okay. Or you can be the supportive half of, when you see that person feeling down, you're the one who shares and likes and comments and be like, no, you look amazing, that's great, that's awesome, you're great the way you are. So that way, because not everybody can fight as hard as some people who go hard when they see, you know, people being the way they are, you know. So if you're not the person who can fight, then you go on the side of sitting there to give them that support and that love and that encouragement, so that they understand that it's perfectly fine who they are and how they are. So.
I sure love that analogy. Thank you so much. Winter Fox, would you like to share?
Yeah. So as far as advocating goes, I'm more of the supportive role. I support men in every game that I play just because I can't shoot anything. But I can support you. I think just really having an open space and just being very like neutral ground, very understanding, very willing to listen just to anybody is a very helpful way to do things. I mean, I used to get bullied all the time because I'm Hispanic, but I've got my dad's skin color, so I'm very light, and I also work from home, so I don't ever see the sun, ever. So I used to get bullied growing up just because my Spanish was bad, and my cousins used to call me this white kid, you know, just kind of, it was almost like a little bit of like racial bullying for a minute, and it was kind of hard to deal with growing up, and even when I got to high school, it just happened all the times with people who used to call me my friend or whatever. And I've gotten to the point where it's like, you know, I love myself enough to not care about these people because the only opinion that matters to me is mine at this point. I've gone through so many different things with people like commenting on my weight because there was a period last year where I was dating this guy and all he ever did was, you know, talk about how I didn't know Spanish, like both things, you know, like he comments on my weight and just my ability to speak Spanish. And he's like, you're not actually Hispanic. Why do you keep telling people that? It's not actually who you are. And so I went downhill for a long time. Then after we broke up, I ended up finding the Bears, which is in the gay community, you know, bigger, hairy guys. They're the nicest people, and I would not be sitting here today if it weren't for them because they helped me and pulled me back out of this little depression that I'd fallen into. And they were really just that supportive zone where they were very listening, very understanding, and kind of gave advice on what happened with them when they were younger and just how they got to their spots.
Thank you. Tifa.
Oh gosh. Again, I think a big part of it is just, you know, act when you see it happening. You know, if you know, I remember I cosplay Ruby a lot from the show Ruby, and I would get a lot of comments earlier about like, you know, I'd get a picture next to another Ruby, and somebody would like caption the photo Ruby and Fat Ruby. And you're like, I don't know this person. And logically, I know that their opinion has no weight on my life. But just like the little things that pull you down like that, and they just build up. And so knowing like, you know, oh, those comments can really hurt. Just kind of taking the offensive to be like, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go up to a stranger and tell them, your makeup looks amazing. I love your costume. You look so great. You know, because those are always comments like when you get those from somebody who doesn't know you and doesn't have any agenda in your life, like they just think that you look good. Those mean a lot. And so to go out and give that to somebody else, you know, pay it forward and just be a positive influence in the lives of people that you don't even know, you know, and it could mean a lot to them. And as far as like, you know, friends and family, just if there is something that is, you know, if you have medical issues that maybe you're embarrassed about because you don't want to be like, you know, I don't want to be a drag. I don't want to be the fun sucker friend who has to take breaks all of the time to like go take meds or sit down for a while. Like, you know, do what is best for you. And if your friends are upset about that, then maybe they're not great friends. You know, make it clear that, hey, this is important. Hey, this is an issue. Just so you know in advance, I'm going to need these sort of accommodations. Put yourself first. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. And, you know, good friends and family around you will want you to be at your best, and they'll help you. So don't be afraid to take those steps to take care of yourself.
Thank you, Tifa. We actually wanted to open this up to our audience as well. If any of you want to share maybe one of the struggles that you've had, or if you have a question for one of our amazing and experienced panelists. Anyone? Yeah, come on up if you want to.
Well, gonna be dragging you down. You're gonna have to wait for me. But this entire day, the moment that I stepped in, everyone's just been like, oof. And it's kind of brought up my self-esteem a little.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
You look very cute.
Yes.
I love it so much.
I love you guys. They're so cute.
I think that's a really good point. For our lovely panelists, what gave you the courage to like start cosplaying and like kind of like jump that stumbling block and say, you know, screw it, I'm gonna do something for me. I'm gonna like take part in this fun hobby. I'll start with Eva.
I was carried through sheer enthusiasm. I am very much no thoughts, head empty. So I got very excited, and the only sewing I had ever done was like 7th grade home ec. And so I made cosplay from D. Gray Man, which is a lot more complicated than my skill level, and the craftsmanship wasn't great, but I was so excited about it that I like put it on and showed up, you know, Halloween high school, and it wasn't until I got there that the anxiety hit, and I was like, oh, this might not have been a good idea.
Oh no.
But everybody was, you know, very nice about it, and so I was like, oh, okay, maybe, you know, my anxiety was making this out to be a much bigger deal than it actually is. I'm having fun, everybody else here is having fun, so, you know, let's just have a good time. So your anxiety is often incorrect. Mm-hmm. Like, take it with a bag of salt.
Like it's a bag of salt, not a pinch of salt.
I mean, I have the most salt.
For me, I would also say that it is enthusiasm. I got very excited about cosplay because of Roxas. You know, I definitely owe a lot of my cosplay career to just that single character. But I also get very competitive as far as like with myself and just where I can be and like skill level and things like that. So after the first FanX that they had here, a year later, I was actually entering the cosplay contest with somebody who I met at a train station at the previous convention. And we are now going to be competing for World Cosplay Summit next year together. So we've been doing things together for like years, and we've just kind of pushed each other. And if it wasn't for her, I honestly don't think I'd be cosplaying still today, just because life happens, things get in the way, and it's just, we kept pushing each other to get better, you know, teaching each other things that we've learned throughout the days. I do her makeup because she doesn't like to do it herself. She likes the way that I do it, so I'm always sitting there smacking her with a sponge. And then she will teach me like different sewing techniques because I'm not the best seamster. I will always bleed somewhere on this costume, whether it's a pin, did I hit my finger with a needle, you know, who knows at this point.
That's just how it is, though.
Right, exactly.
It's a sacrifice for every costume.
Oh, 100%. But it's not even like the competitive aspect. It's more or less the people that I've met in the green rooms and backstage are some of the best people I've ever met, and I've just been friends with them for so long. It's more or less just to meet people, and that's kind of why I'm still here and why I'm still going.
So it's kind of a combination, and then I have something to add, because walking into the first con and feeling encouraged and just being excited about everything, and like starting off my first few cosplays, I did compete as well, so just constantly wanting to compete, and like I write parodies, so I liked going on stage making people laugh, and then being told afterwards when they saw my skit, they were just like, I didn't think that's what was going to happen. Like I cosplayed Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts, I shaved my head, and I did an entire musical number where I was selling a 90s CD. So it was, these are the songs you can get from Xehanort. And I parodied a bunch of different songs so that way I could do a whole dance on stage. And my husband handed out CDs with the songs on them to the judges. And having people face palm and like slam their heads into the desk and lose it, that's what keeps me going. I don't care if I win. I don't care if I get a prize. But if someone afterwards is like, why did you do that? I'm like, because I don't know, I just wanted to be bald and dance around in music. And I legitimately shaved my head to get all my hair gone. And outside of the encouragement and having fun, it's going to sound bad, but spite. Yes. So when someone comes up to me, like, as of recently, in the past few years, it's been like, someone's like, oh, you don't really look like you'd make a good Miku. I'm like, watch me. And so I put on cosplays, like, I've kind of started a series of my own without really saying it, of what are everyone's favorite waifus and how can I make them hate that because I will do it, and they'll be like, that doesn't look like that, and I'll be like, yes I do, and just make people kind of mad about it, but also have people who really do like those characters. Like, I cosplay Deku, I also cosplay Inko, I want to cosplay Midnight. There's like so many characters that people see and they think that character's tiny and they should look a certain way, and I'm like, I'm gonna look like that just so all you guys can be mad, and then everyone else will see it and go, you know what, I'm gonna do that too because she did it, so yeah. So anything that I can encourage other people and spitefully make all the little people who are angry about it mad. So
I love spike crafting. Spike crafting is one of my favorites. I'm just like, you can try and stop me, but it's not gonna work. I'll tell you that right now.
So driven. I feel like people tend to think of body positivity as like a finish line, like one day I'm going to be confident every single day, and one day I'm going to just completely accept myself. And I think for me personally, it's way more of an everyday thing, because I'm not always that very confident person. I'm not always feeling, pretty or feeling accepting of myself. And so how do you guys handle like in the day-to-day, like how do you build yourself up? What do you do to like, I guess get yourself like psyched and more positive about yourself? I'm going to start, sorry we keep bouncing back and forth. This time I'm going to start with winter thoughts.
I knew it. So I actually have a list of things on my computer desk that are just there to remind me, why I shouldn't get so down about certain things, because I work in commercial credit. It's a hard job. I beat myself up over little things in my department all the time, and I will come into like this really dark, kind of not like super dark, but really depressive state after work, or like somewhere in the middle of my shift. So I've made this list of things that I've accomplished and things that I should be proud of, and to remind myself that this job is going to be here, and your work that you did today is okay. Just keep going forward, because there's a better day tomorrow. There's a better day in like 2 hours. Is this going to matter in like 20 minutes? Probably not. Like, I just have constant reminders of things that I've done to make sure that I don't forget why I should be smiling today.
It's kind of the same. I've put up a corkboard above my workspace in my computer where every time I accomplish a goal, I write it down on a little heart and I pin it to the corkboard. So anytime I'm like, oh, I got a guesting spot. Oh, I hit this number that I wanted to hit. I finally finished my dream cosplay, things like that. I'll put them up on the board to remind me that I've done it. I will also sometimes screenshot the nice comments that I get so that I can go back to them and go, remember when you wore this costume and someone called you this? Well, there are about 7 other people who really liked what you did. So, make sure you focus on that. And as a, kind of way to keep me going sometimes, I will take some of the negative comments and talk about them with other people, just so they, I'll post them on my Twitter so they understand, you're not alone. Even people who may have, 500 views or all of this extra stuff, they also go through it. They also have this. So we all, encourage each other that this one person may have said this, but when someone says something bad about one costume, I will post 5 more pictures, once again out of spite, to go, you might have thought this, but here's the rest of that photo shoot since you want to see it so bad. And that'll kind of push me to keep posting and keep going, because other people are looking at it that actually like what I do, and I like what I do. So, or I'll come up with a random makeup look to be like, I like this, so this will make me feel better. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I love the idea of keeping the good, so you can kind of push the bad to the back of your brain and be like, no, focus on this. Aoife,
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing where, if my friends say something nice about me or something that they like, I'll screenshot it. It's my serotonin jar on my phone. I can just reach into it and pull one out. But I think the biggest thing for me, at least, is that understanding you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. And not every day has to be a good day, and it's okay if it's not. Some days you're not, you're going to look in the mirror and you're not going to think, I love this about myself. I love myself. I love this. Some days when it is bad, it's enough to go, you know what? I don't hate how my hair looks today. I don't hate how my skin is looking. And we all make jokes about, oh, I hate myself so much, just kind of trying to check yourself. Be like, I'm kind of struggling with myself a little bit today, but like, you don't, everybody's like, be your own best friend, be nice to yourself, give yourself some leeway, we love our friends and we tell them, hey, it's okay to, Theo said, it's okay to do this, but when it applies to ourselves, somehow the advice isn't valid anymore. So like, if it applies to everybody else, it can apply to you. Don't be so hard on yourself. And it's okay to, take a day and just breathe for a bit. And just, next day, try to love one more thing about yourself than you did yesterday. And if the next day it's back down to 0, you can keep building up again. Just don't like get in rock bottom and then say, well, this is it. This is where I'm going to stay from now on. Like, no, you can keep climbing, even if you're climbing slow, as long as you're going.
I think one of my favorite things that I've done in the past, 2 or 3 years, too, it was a thing I saw online that I thought was a joke, but you just stand in front of a mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself. Even if you don't mean it at the time, your brain doesn't understand that. So the more and more you do it, you end up actually believing that you love yourself. And it's just like, I will talk to myself in the mirror for hours. And my roommate hates it because he'll walk into my room to talk to me and he hears me talking in the bathroom. And I'll be like, oh no, he can hear me. And yes, he can because he talks to me about it. And I'm like, I'm embarrassed now. But just talking to yourself in the mirror because you're looking at yourself and you can see it in your eyes. And it's more than just feeling it. You can just tell yourself and understand it and then actually believe it later. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Nice.
That's wonderful. Daily affirmations.
We love
to
them.
get into, but they're so worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So, do you have any questions or anyone else's experiences that they want to share?
So, I have been costuming since I was my grandma helped me make a Link costume for Halloween when I was, I want to say 12. And I'm kind of bad at thinking through what I'm saying, but I've been costuming for a longer part of my life than I remember than before that. And it has been so crucial to, I feel like, my development of every area of my life. And I did cosplay a lot before, and then I switched to LARPing, which is what I do a lot mostly now, where I can design characters that I want to play and I can create those costumes. But it has been so instrumental to helping me discover things about myself and my identity. Playing characters of different genders helped me realize I'm actually non-binary and I have all the genders. It's great. So things about cosplay in itself is so beautiful because everyone that comes to it is they're making something, and everything that you make because you made it is inherently good. And I guess I just want to say, if you feel bad about your cosplays or it's your first time, you're doing amazing. I'm so proud of you. Keep at it because you look great. And if you keep at it, you'll also feel way better down the road when you also improve, because it will happen. That's how skills work. It's great. And don't be afraid to play gender dressing room if you're trans. I love you. Okay.
I got road here, all tacos.
Hi. So, I'm also part of the mermaid community. So this whole panel is the life. 'Cause in that community, it is very, you have to look a certain way to get the gigs and stuff. But it also comes into cosplay because it's why? Why should you have to look a certain way? It's no, you're doing what you love to do. It's you cosplay because you love the character. And it's I've been cosplaying since, let me remember, it's been too long, so my brain's 2008. And it's the cosplay community, especially here at Banzai, is phenomenal. Because everyone is so nice and kind, and I don't even hear any bad comments because of how great the people are here. So I just wanted to say that.
I just want to say I liked everybody's cosplays who came up, and I love your Rena.
Well, you're so cute, I want to take you home with me. So the one thing I wanted to add on to was the treat yourself as you would a friend, because my therapist suggested I do that, and my outlook on myself has changed drastically just over a month of doing that. And I am no longer really harsh on myself, which is difficult because I am plus size. So I hear a lot of things of like, oh, your teeth out for that character. But like ever since I started treating myself as a friend, now I'm like, I don't care what you think. I'm going to do whatever I like. So that's my advice, is to treat yourself as you would one of your closest friends. If you heard someone saying awful things to your friend, you wouldn't stand by that, would you? No. So I just wanted to add on to that.
I just wanted to kind of add on to what a lot of people are touching on, which is the positive affirmation thing. I'm a social work major. I took a lot of psychology classes. And the positive affirmation thing has real power. There's a whole section of psychology devoted to it, because what you say becomes your thoughts, becomes your actions. So ever since I learned that, I've always made it a point not to talk bad about myself. You can pretty much ask anyone that knows me. I'm always telling people that I'm beautiful. I'm always telling people that I'm awesome.
And it's true. I try to not about myself because I say something nice about myself.
I do that. Yeah. Because what you say becomes your thoughts. And since I've started doing that, I have felt a ton better about myself. I used to think that I looked like a guy, and I didn't particularly enjoy that. Some people would, but I wasn't one of them. I thought, I'm 6 foot tall. There's no way I can be girly. And then I only do guy cosplays, so there's definitely no way that I can be girly. But I have found that if I talk nice to myself, about myself, and I just kind of do what I want, I like who I am. I like how tall I am. I like how I look. So I just kind of wanted to add that nugget of information for y'all.
I've learned that one of the things that helps me the most is actually forcing myself to spend time with myself when I feel the worst. When I feel like I just want to curl up in a ball, die, never let anyone look at me, I literally sit in the bathroom for 2 hours and do my makeup. And I don't do normal makeup. I do crazy cosplay makeup or gore FX, and I literally, I make myself look like a monster, and that's when I'm, the most confident, because I know I did the work, and I know I look badass, and so then I get to be happy about it. So, honestly, spend time with yourself.
So with the whole just sitting in the doing bathroom makeup and everything like that, that's another way of people being like, well, certain colors won't look good on you because of this, and I'm like, okay, so I have to come up with a whole new makeup routine to figure out how to make green and orange and this color look good since you told me no, and spending that time to learn new skills and making myself okay, I do look good. I just confirmed that I know I look good in this. Okay, cool. Yeah, most of mine is spite.
So I had 2 questions. The first is kind of technical. So for folks who are bottom heavy, how do you go about crossplay in terms of, for a top you can use a binder, but hips and butt and thighs, how do you work that into your cosplay? And then second is just, do you have general resources for plus size cosplay you recommend?
By the way, love your rainbow,
It's so cute.
Any of our panelists want to chime in on this one?
As for me, I don't have a butt, so it's stomach, so I'll wear, there's stomach binding, kind of little things like that, but a lot of the times I kind of just try to embrace it, instead make myself look more like a heavier or square man than going to looking like a thinner version of the character as a man. So I just kind of fit that character to if they were thicker like me, how will I shape myself to look thicker like a guy like that? Resources, honestly, a lot of my stuff is like Amazon thrifting and then modifying clothing. Like this is all, well, except for my skirt I made, but this is all Amazon and thrifting to try to match to the characters. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I will say, as someone who is very pear-shaped, where'd you go, Rainbow? One of the things I do when I am tailoring a costume is I love long jackets on costumes because they hide a lot in the hips. Tailoring things so they have a dropped waist instead of a really high waist de-emphasizes your hips and makes you look boxier. There's a lot of like little tips and tricks you can do, and we actually have like some episodes on it on our podcast if you want. But as far as like resources go, getting to know your body and how things fit on your form is going to help you a ton, and looking at like different ways to tailor is going to be your best friend. So, sorry, I just wanted to throw that in first. Thank you. Steve, you have something.
I kind of wanted to add on to spending time with yourself. Getting to know yourself can really help your own confidence level. You can't see it. I'm going to show you real quick. So I'm going to take off my mask and we're going to break real. So if I smile, you see I have a really big gap in my teeth, right? That's pretty big. I used to be really self-conscious about my teeth. I had braces, I had all of that work, and then I took off the braces, my teeth looked great, and I have really bad tongue thrust and went right back. And so I used to never smile with my mouth open. Never, never, never. And I always was kind of disappointed in how my pictures looked. And so for a year, I took a selfie nearly every day with an open mouth smile. And I practiced getting used to how I looked, getting used to how my smile was and what made me special. And so I worked not trying to get other people's opinions of themselves out of my head. I worked on trying to accept my own differences and getting used to what made me special. And so I find exposure to these things, exposures to taking pictures, exposure to taking selfies, those are all going to help you overcome that imposter syndrome.
She would send those selfies to me and I'd be like, you look beautiful today.
I did. I took selfies as I would go on a walk. I took selfies with my animals. I took selfies in Rome. I just took so many selfies. And I sent them all to Mercedes. I'd be like, I think I look especially cute today. And I learned taking a selfie up here is a lot better than taking a selfie down here.
Oh, yes.
It's important. Angles. And learning what direction you feel most confident in can really help. Because sometimes when you make yourself small, when you hide those things that you are self-conscious about, like it comes off in a picture. You can tell that your confidence level, that you're shrunk, that you're small. Mm-hmm. So if you learn how to expand yourself and you learn how you want to pose and you learn what you think makes you look confident and what you think makes you look good, you're going to feel a lot better about those pictures and you're going to care a lot less about what other people are going to say about you. So.
And if you want, send them to them that you know will be like, I love her face. I always love responding.
Can I actually add on to that?
I want to add on because, like you said, taking selfies and knowing yourself, knowing your angles. It's going to sound really funny, but I used to sit down and watch Top Model and watch those shows. Not for them, but to go, okay, so what poses do what? And how does that look? And that character would act like that. And learning that if you're chunky especially, don't take pictures with your neck in. You always have to push out and push yourself, so that way you don't take the picture and go, wow, I can see all my rolls. You have to be like, okay, I have to have my head up confidently, and I have to look out and make sure that I'm feeling the character too. Especially if you're doing certain characters like, the only thing I can think of is Hero Academia because I can see right there. But like Bakugo or something, is he going to be like, I'm taking a picture, or is he going to be proud and out there? And the more you're out there and proud of it, the more you're going to be like, yeah, okay, I'm feeling this. I am like this. That's cool, you know. And taking selfies every day. And the one thing that helped me gain so much confidence and hurt a little bit, but TikTok, for some reason, when I started TikTok, which was when it was Musical.ly, I would try to act as those characters and act out those characters, even by myself. And slowly but surely, I kind of started feeling the characters more and feeling more confident, like cosplaying certain characters like Junko, Lady Demetrusk. Those characters built so much confidence without even realizing it was there. And I'm like, okay, I got this. So taking on those characters and actually acting them, sometimes you start to pull from those characters and start to feel that confidence too. So.
Fox or Tifa, did you guys want to add anything?
Yeah, I want to add two things. One, if you want a good way to practice being confident, cosplay a villain.
Yes!
You will have so much fun, and the reactions you get will build you up so much. It's amazing. But also, kind of build off of what Sadie was saying, what you perceive as your own flaws and faults, you are going to see them so much more than everybody else is. And you know, it's like when you're making a costume or editing audio or something, you are going to notice all of the little mistakes. And then you show it to somebody and you're like, this is the worst, I can't fix this, and like, I don't see anything. I don't see anything that's wrong. You know, it's the same with yourself. You know, if you look at yourself in the mirror every day, you're going to notice things and you're going to fixate on them. Like, it's okay to just let them go sometimes. And, you know, like when we take group pictures, I look at Sadie and I go, dang, Sadie has a cute smile. You do. You have a really cute smile. And it's like, you know, you would never know that you had ever been self-conscious about your smile because she's just like, you look so good. So, like, you know, try not to fixate on what you think are your flaws because they're not. You know, you are fine the way that you are. You look great. You know, just be yourself and have fun.
Not to sound like I'm taking over anything, but another thing about that is accept the compliment. If someone says something nice about you, don't pull back and go, no, I'm not, I don't know. I had to, for a whole year, just shut up rather than saying thank you because it was so hard to say thank you, to accept the compliment. Instead of saying thank you because I couldn't, I would just shut up and go, okay. And after a while of saying, okay, it eventually became, thank you, I do feel good, or thank you, that does look nice. So don't fight people, or as my mom would always tell me is don't discount your blessings. So if someone's trying to bless you, or if someone's trying to say something nice to you, just accept it. Even if it's hard to accept it, just go, yeah. If you can't say thank you, yeah. Because the more you start to just take it, rather than fighting them on it, you'll start to see it too, and you'll start to understand it, and you'll start to love it as well.
Yeah, accepting compliments is so hard for me still. Like, people will be like, you look so cute, and I'm like, stop. Don't look at me. But one of my favorite things to do too, I just love the mirror. There's something about mirrors that I just enjoy. And it's my best friend taught me, we were in high school, this like confidence posing. If you pose in front of a mirror doing like confidence poses, you will feel so much better. And my favorite one is just like lifting your shoulders and then back and down. It just gives you that like, you feel like you're so much above all your problems in that moment for just a second. Even just like staring at yourself in the mirror. Sometimes I like do a little jig, you know, just have my music playing or TikTok going and I'm just like making all these poses, trying to lift myself up. It's just my favorite thing to do.
Thanks. So I don't do cosplay very much. This is like my first time I've ever like had a cosplay for every day or like made anything. And I do theater at school and I wear costumes and nothing fits ever. And it's the worst feeling in the world when you're standing in the costume closet like there's so many costumes here, like floor to ceiling costumes, and nothing fits me and they have to make something to fit me. And it's the worst feeling in the world. And you get stuck in like the ugly costumes you're like put in the back and it's the worst. But you come to like conventions and you spend weeks making your own costume and doing your own thing and then you put it on and it's amazing. Or even if it's not and it's not what you pictured, you come to the con and everybody just is like so supportive and loves it. And I wasn't really feeling my cosplay this morning and then I came in and we saw like 2 more Adventure Zone cosplayers and they're like, you guys look so cool, you look awesome. And I was like, thank you, I really needed that. Yeah, you don't realize how much people need your compliments and things until like you need them and somebody gives them to you and you're like, this is awesome. I feel awesome. And so you never know. And this has been fun to listen to. Thank you.
So another one in costume, don't be afraid to change a costume to accommodate your needs. Your needs are important, and if you need to wear glasses and you cannot do contacts, it's me. I can't do contacts. I'm afraid of things touching my eyes. And the character doesn't have glasses, who cares? Just wear those glasses. If you need to accommodate something for your body shape, and you're going to feel more confident in giving your, you don't want to wear the open stomach because you just don't, your confidence level isn't there like that. That's okay. Make that change. It is okay to have inaccuracies in your costume if it is going to help your confidence level and your comfort level, and also your safety level. It would be really bad if someone who needed glasses, me, walked around at a con without their glasses. I would run into things. So if you need to adjust a costume so that you are safe and you are comfortable and you are confident, do it. No one's going to care about that accuracy problem. I promise you, they all get it. They all make the same little changes for their own comfort levels, and you're going to have a lot better time at a convention if you're comfortable, safe, and confident. So,
Can I actually add on to that a little bit? Especially if you are not completely able-bodied, put yourself first. If that character wears stilettos, but you have a lot of pain, you can't walk in that, wear flats. That's okay. If that character has a very cinched waist and this big corset, but that gives you back pain or it gives you nausea or anything like that, it's okay. Don't comfort over character. Always put yourself first. You're not going to have fun if you are miserable and in pain. And if you're not having fun, then you lose the point of the cosplay.
I don't really want to come up or anything, but I just wanted to add, you could also, if you use mobility aids, you could use them, add them to your cosplay. I don't use mobility aids. This could be used as one of the biggest part of the cosplay. So add it to the cosplay.
Absolutely. Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
So to add to that one, I also have that, and one of the things that I make sure that I do when I do cosplay is I have a strong core, something with a cane. So I'm planning Obi-Wan Kenobi cosplay sometime in the near future when I'm ready to cosplay again after the nightmare that it is has been the current one. But I've been seeing actually a lot of people let's make a lightsaber cane.
Yes.
A little bit more pricey because you need to get something sturdy or something of those nice, but there are modded abilities for canes and walking sticks, and the community already is out there to support people who have physical resistance when they're trying just to move around. So there's so many people out there who want to make sure that you succeed because they're trying to figure out at the same time. So I totally get it. It's hard, frustrating, but yeah, there's people out there working.
Right, X-Angel here, and what I was gonna say is get out there and do it. The more you do it, the more comfortable you're gonna get. And when it comes to things like canes, I had used to do martial art. One of my friends got in an accident, and they modified the patterns for her so she could compete with the cane. And you don't need, you can do a lightsaber cane if you want for Obi-Wan, or you could get a cool desert scape cane, because he's been on Tatooine for 20 years. And just, use the Force when you got the lightsaber so that you're not falling. But there's so many things that cosplay is such a great community, and the ingenuity that if you get out there and you ask, people will answer, and they can help you put together the things that will help you feel better about yourself. My Chun-Li is a result of Canon and this panel happening, because I thought after having a kid, I could never do Chun-Li again. And now it's like, it's what I'm known for. So just get out there, it gets better, and you'll look better the more you do it.
On that note, that actually brings up a really good point. One of the things we wanted to ask about is like, what communities out there exist? Where can people go to look for support? I know, Kalika, you mentioned that you've gotten a lot of positivity from TikTok. Are there any other like Facebook groups, social media, places people can go where they can feel like built up and not put down? Any of the panelists who want to chime in on this one?
I think Discord is a really good place to look for just communities like that. A lot of people post on like Twitter or Reddit, or TikTokers have their own Discord communities. There's a lot of really good support places in the TikTok Discord communities. I'm part of, I think there's two, I can't remember their names right now, but they have an entire section of just like support, like there's a venting channel, advice channel, just tons of different areas where you can just type in things and like look for advice or just how to move forward on things.
Yeah, I've had a lot of luck with Facebook groups. You know, a lot of like-minded people can gather in one spot, and especially, you know, the Stitch and Seam Facebook group has been very kind and supportive and enthusiastic, and just find people who share your passion and share your interests, and, you know, go for it. Make a post about something, reach out and start a conversation, and you'll make friends.
Yeah, I'm I'm a little more introverted, so I do have a hard time like jumping into groups so easily. But I know that a lot of the times I'll find a lot of like, I guess, camaraderie through looking at tags on certain social media. Like there are celebrate chubby cosplayers and plus size cosplayers and black cosplayer here, and you know, all of that you can look through and see other people like-minded like you and even start a conversation and join in with them. I have my own Discord that's very supportive that I talk to. We don't talk a lot because we're all introverted, but when we do, we're like, hey, I did a thing, and everybody's like, yeah, you did the thing, you know. So if you have to, you can create your own groups through your friends or people that you've met through those tags if you don't feel as comfortable to just jump right into other people's, you know.
Shameless plug for the Cosplay Team Discord, just saying. Also Discord.
Any other audience that want to chime in or share? Yeah.
So I actually recently joined a page on Facebook called Adult Cult. It very specifically is for women and people. That being said, they are literally the most like accepting for my own crowd. Because like you can post anything on there and you're gonna get like 17 comments that are just like, oh my god, go, like win. So nice. It's anything from like craft to selfies to like it doesn't even matter what we post. Like someone is gonna be there fighting.
Right. And you said that the doll cult on
It's kind of creepy and it's just called doll cult.
is that on Facebook? Insta? Facebook. Okay, awesome.
Just doll
cult. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that. That's awesome.
Awesome. So my next question for you guys, and this is for the audience as well, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but how has cosplay helped you with discovering who you are, as well as like boosting your confidence and things like that? How has cosplay helped with that? Because we all know about the internet trolls and how they jump on there and try and take that down, but we also know that cosplay is what helps boost us. So tell me about that. Whichever panelist would like to start. I'm just going to pick a random one.
I'll start.
Yeah.
I've learned I am so much of a mom friend through cosplay, and that like I've said, I cosplay Inko and I cosplay a lot of like mom characters, and through that I've learned that I have that kind of bond where people just feel comfortable with talking to me and letting, understand what's going on. And I've just kind of accepted a bunch of cosplay children and been like, oh, what do you need? How's it going? I've learned I'm a lot more confident than I thought I was. Because before cosplay, I would just be kind of behind a computer or behind a desk, just kind of by myself, until I started going out and being like, oh, actually, I can talk to people if I try hard enough, and I have a lot to contribute through cosplay, I've learned that confidence and skill levels that I didn't know I had, because like you, I like to just jump from thing to thing and be like, I can learn how to do that. I'll learn how to do that. And I pick up very quickly. So I've learned I have a lot more talent too than I thought I had.
I've learned that I'm a lot more of a dad friend than anything else. I'm really good at planning trips. I mean, Kieran has come with me to Anime Expo before, and I've traveled all over, going to different conventions all over the place, and really good at planning, really good at being that like stern, stop being dumb, you're ruining my vacation, I'm going to talk to your parents when we get home, like sort of thing, where it's just, I'm very straight to the point, and I learned that through cosplay, just kind of doing more and more things. I just kind of found myself a little bit with like just makeup and kind of expression through makeup. I've gotten a lot better at it, especially since I started the Fox makeup brand. Just kind of help push forward with everything, and you know, kind of designing things that we need, and just, I don't know, it's kind of just open doors. Every time I take a step forward, there's another door to open.
Cosplay, especially for me, has made me okay with having photos of myself. Like, a lot of my time growing up, you know, I don't have very white teeth. I look awkward in pictures, wasn't confident about my body, and so I just avoided cameras at all costs. So there's years of my life that are completely undocumented in photos. I'm like a cryptid. But then I got into cosplay, and people were like, oh, can I have your picture? And I was like, why would you want that? But okay. And, you know, after years of doing that, somebody asked me, now, can I have your picture? And I'm like, yeah, I'll strike a pose for you. It'll be great. It just builds up your confidence so much. Exposure therapy. And now, you know, when I'm in a picture out of costume, I can be like, hey, I look like I'm having fun. That's a good memory. I'm glad that I have physical evidence of this fun time that I had.
So I have PTSD and anxiety, and so for me, cosplay makes it where I can be social, but my anxiety isn't a problem, because it's not my face. This is Todoroki's face. So my anxiety just vanishes, and I can do what I want to do without having to worry about calming myself down. I get to just exist for a couple of days at a con and make friends a lot more easily than I usually do.
For me, one of the biggest things with cosplay is that, yeah, I'm not here, like, part of me is still here, but also, like, I'm Captain Vido right now. You know, I can fuel her confidence into me, kind of thing. Or when I'm Link, it's like I'm running around and I'm just like, I'm now the silent hero doing, you know, silly things because that's my headcanon for him. You know, it's being able to take that and fuel that as part of yourself, and it's more than just becoming the character influencing you and those parts of you that are truly you. You know, I always joke, I love playing big, buff D&D characters. And they're always, you know, even though they're big, buff, and like roar, they're soft boys. And I think, anyways, that goes into my, like, I don't know, Panon calls me Genki. Where I'm like, go out there, go! I have a big love for all of you. And I also have a soft spot for all of you where I am going to root for you and all that kind of stuff. And that comes through in my D&D characters, comes through in the characters I choose to cosplay. You'll find that more and more as you're putting together your cosplays and whatnot, that their personalities and whatnot are part of you. So, yeah, sorry. I didn't get to talk that long.
I think I had another hand now, maybe?
It's another hand.
Anyone else want to talk about how cosplay has like helped you grow and find who you are? Yeah, we'll go there and there.
So I have a lot of body dysphoria, and when I'm in cosplay, like I feel better about myself. And I was telling my mom, because she doesn't fully approve, but I told her, I said that when I'm in cosplay, I do it for myself and not for other people. And for me, that's just a big thing, because my whole family is just like dressed to impress kind of thing, where I'm just like, for me, it's for me, and I don't care what other people think, and it makes me feel good about myself.
I will say for me, like, I definitely grew up in that very standard masculine kind of home of this is the gender divide right here, right? And it wasn't until I started doing more cosplay and wanting to kind of push myself in areas that I was unfamiliar with. I don't want to say uncomfortable, but unfamiliar with. And I started doing makeup, and I mostly because of Fox Beauty Cosmetics. And I realized, like, oh dang, I look amazing. I always had appreciation for the cost and the effort and the amount of time that goes into putting everything on. But now I have so much more respect for like the craft of it as well, because now I'm trying to do it and I'm able to share that with the community, and the community is there to bolster me and support and praise and give me tips as well, and give me feedback in the best way. I'm not just like, well, that could be better. It's like, oh, what are the things that you should try next time? And it's having those words of affirmation, those friends, those people who want to celebrate you and lift you up and guide you into better and better places is the best thing available for you. And if you don't feel like you have that friend, come find the Discord, come find the Facebook page, because man, I can't tell you how many times I've been able to post something and so quickly someone will say, oh my goodness, that was amazing, or yes, I can't imagine anyone else doing this better. Like, it's such great time to be alive where we can all share our passions.
I'm going to add in some both y'all went. I think I've mentioned this before, but I felt okay about myself before cosplay, but I didn't. My family does not talk about their feelings and things like that very much, so you all know that we wasn't. But I didn't hear things like, you're pretty or you look great and things like that growing up. And it wasn't until I started doing cosplay that I actually started hearing that, not just from friends, but from family, and not that their opinion should hold any more weight than someone else's, but it was such it was kind of a game changer of oh yeah, I can look pretty, I can be more accepting of myself, and cosplay was what helped me do that, what helped me start building a foundation on what was a very not much at all, and got me where I am today. So yeah, is anybody that wanted to share?
I do actually have another question. So based on that, I want to know, how do we give uplifting feedback? Because this is a lot of times where you get excited about someone's cosplay, whether it's online or in person, and most of the time, my advice is don't tell them what's wrong with their costume, please.
We know.
That's what they're there for. But if somebody wants to have feedback, how can you do that without bringing up any of those things? What advice would you give on that, panelists?
So is it kind of like we're critiquing, not critiquing,
someone comes up to you, they want to have feedback on their costume. How can you give it that uplifts them?
So my personal way of doing it would be talking about the good things, what I like. I really like your fabric choices, coloration, materials that you've used. I think that this could have been done a little bit better had you done it this way, or let me introduce you to this technique, or here's something that I would have done better. But again, I really enjoy the way that you did this. I love the way that it looks. Just kind of Oreo sandwich it, positive, not so much a negative, even though it is kind of a negative, and then another positive underneath it. So it's not a harsh thing. People don't take it as harsh, but it's still a very positive feedback critique, kind of.
If someone asks for a critique from me, I kind of want them to tell me what they feel about it first. Because while as in they could be really proud of a part they did, but you might see it as that doesn't look as good. So I would rather them say, well, I don't feel like this looks good or this part is that way. So I can go, well, okay, if you changed it this way, it might come out better that way. Because sometimes even though we know we don't want to be mean, we can see that a part of their costume might be lacking, but that's because maybe they didn't have the money to get that material, or maybe they didn't have this to do that way, or if someone doesn't focus on makeup and their makeup isn't the best, but they don't care about that. They want to know how they can fix their skirt or how they can fix their jacket. So I tend to ask people, okay, what part of your costume do you not feel so confident about? So then I can give the advice there and not start kind of going into other sections that they might not even been thinking about. And then, because I know sometimes when people do it to me, then I get into my head and I'm like, oh, wait, that didn't look good. This didn't look good, you know? So I kind of want to hear their thought first, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, always start off by establishing that, yes, they do want critique. And, you know, again, just find positives and the things that you do think they can improve on, give them something specific and tangible. Don't just say, you know, well, that doesn't look good. What about it doesn't look good? What can they change? And offer resources of things that they can find, like, you know, hey, I can actually send you a tutorial on how to make this specific thing that I found, or have you tried looking into this type of fabric? Or like, you know, they're like, oh, my collar doesn't look very good. I was like, you know, well, have you tried interfacing it? Have you tried this? Have you tried these specific techniques? So that it's something that they can work on and that they have a goal in mind, and it's not just, you did a bad job. It's, you know, this was a good effort, and here are specific ways where you can make the next one even better. So make sure you give them a goal and something that, you know, good critique is something that somebody can walk away from and feel excited to work on it again. And not like defeated and like, oh, well, I didn't realize, you know, I thought I looked good, but I guess I was walking around like a clown the whole time because you had a lot of things to say. You know.
I saw an audience hand, but I'm going to piggyback on Mercedes' question real quick. Because I know one of the things, like, I feel like we all kind of experience this with cosplay, is like someone goes, oh, you look blank, you should cosplay blank character because that's who you look like. Whether it's like skin tone, body type, whatever it is, like, how do you handle those? Are you, like, do you talk to the person about their question? Do you, like...
And I was going to say, really quick on that, notice that all of those feedback answers, none of them mention body type, skin type, health, any of that. That's how I believe you know you're getting good feedback, because they're focusing on your craft and not on you as a person, okay? So, because you are already amazing. But yes, so back to Hannah's question about how do you address that? When you repeat it.
Oh. So, panelists, how do you handle it when people basically tell you what you should cosplay based on how you look?
Spite. No, oh, you want me to not do this thing? I'm gonna not do even harder. Like, you know, like, oh, well, you really look like this. You should cosplay that person. I'm like, well, I enjoy the person who looks the opposite. So you know what I'm gonna do? The opposite. Shocking. Yes.
Honestly, I'm the same way. Out of makeup, I look a lot like Markiplier and Maze Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist. And I've only cosplayed Markiplier once because my best friend asked me to. But everyone else wants me to cosplay Maze Hughes, and I will not touch him because spite. Like, do not tell me what to cosplay because I will not do it. I'm
going to do the opposite, and I'm going to look amazing.
I'll cosplay another character from that series, but it's going to be Lust. Let's do it.
Here for it. Please. Banzai 2022.
I'll do it. I'll do it right now. Not right now. Next year, but I'll do it.
I feel like it's another realm for me because it depends on how it's intended. Because I'll have friends suggest characters to me, and it's fine because they're my friends, and they're like, well, we like watching this series, why don't you try this? But if I might be blunt, of course a lot of the character suggestions I get are immediately because I'm black, so cosplay the black character in this series. And it's like, what I didn't want to cosplay that character, I wanted to cosplay the main character. And you kind of get typecasted into that, but you look like this. So I will spitefully also cosplay something different, but sometimes you have to be like, look, I know you mean well, but you are sounding like you're typecasting me. And it even goes for plus size, where they're like, there's a big character, you should be that one. Like, we're doing Hero Academia, will you be Fat Gum? No, I want to be Bakugo. You know, like, you have to make sure that you establish that I know you mean well, friend, but that doesn't come off well because you looked at me and you immediately typecast who I should be. If they are certain friends, I'll go, can you give me 5 reasons why I should be them outside of the way I look? Because if they can tell me, well, I mean, you're really cheery, you're really sweet, I can see that personality in you, then I know that they mean it in a well-intended, this character just fits you so well. But if they're just kind of like, oh, well, and I'm like, yeah, see, that's why it doesn't feel good that you said it that way, you know? Because it's good to still have that boundary of, you have to understand that saying that I should cosplay Storm or Garnet or all of the characters that you know that are immediately Black, powerful women isn't necessarily a compliment, because I might want to cosplay Rogue, you know, I might want to cosplay like Steven, so it's like you mean well, but still you have to understand the way they intended it. And then as for like, it gets mixed because I'll get trolls who will go, oh, you look like Lizzo, and they don't need it in a nice way. Or, oh, you should cosplay these characters because those ones fit you so much more. So then, yeah, spitefully, I'll be like, no. But it's like hard when you also like, I cosplay Storm because I want to cosplay Storm. But then you get the slew of people who are like, yeah, see, this fits you better. And you're like, okay, here we go, you know. So for me, it's intention on how I respond to people who suggest characters.
Yeah. And a lot of people, especially outside of the cosplay community, like, you know, a lot of us who have been in the cosplay community know that you shouldn't do that, and that's a no-no. But, like, you know, some random person on the street who's like, oh, what's this convention that's going on? What's cosplay?
Yeah.
You know, they don't necessarily understand why we don't like to hear that. Mm-hmm. And so just being able to, like, you know, even when you're so sick of giving the same explanation, be like, you know, oh, I appreciate it, but here's why we don't say that. Here's why we don't do that. So that it makes them aware, you know, you don't want them to feel bad unless they had bad intentions, in which case, feel free.
The intention, I gotta hear how you went about saying it and doing it, you know?
Yeah.
Nice, thank you. We have one more question, and then we're going to wrap a little bit early, so if you guys would like to talk one-on-one with any of our panelists, you can, and get any of their social media, things like that. So the last thing I want to hear from our panelists is, like, what is some advice or a note of positivity that you want to share? And we will start with Fox.
My biggest piece of advice, I always make that clicking noise. If you ever hear it, it's not like bad. I just always make it. My biggest piece of advice is just love yourself now, because life's too short not to love yourself. And I always tell myself that because it really is. You never know, you know?
Tifa.
You know, sometimes you just got to jump in feet first. You know, don't listen to your anxiety. Just if you want to do the thing, then go for it. Do it. If you're anxious to do it by yourself, find a friend. Find an extroverted friend who will go with you and help you with icebreakers and make new friends. And just hop into it. Just give it a go. You're never going to find out if you love something if you don't give it a shot.
Nice. And then Persona.
A lot of the times the first thing I'll do is any of the reasons that I'm not cosplaying this character logical? Like, if I immediately say I don't have the body type, I don't have the skin tone, then that's not logical. So I can't use that as a way not to do it. Unless it's something like, oh, I don't have the money to make that entire armor build. That makes sense. Pull back and do that when you have it, or find a better way to do it. So I question myself and kind of do a pros and cons to this. And that's how I jump headfirst into cosplay. Because your reasoning for not cosplaying something should never have anything to do with you. It should have everything to do with how much you want to do it.
Can we get a round of applause for our amazing panelists?
Well, thank you guys for listening. That was a lot of fun. I feel proud of myself because I made it through a body positivity panel without crying.
You did!
I did! I was so worried of, like, my makeup going everywhere because it was, like, the first panel of the day. But we made it.
We did.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. Got a lot of new insights. Had a lot of different, like, I don't know, stories and just points of view, and it was really informative.
And once again, just an amazing audience. Always an amazing audience for those ones.
Thanks so much for listening. As always, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can do that at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or
Or you can go to the website at cosplaystationteam.com and fill out the contact form, or
go to the Facebook page and send us your message there. And while you're there, join our fantastic Work in Progress Wednesdays and our fantastic community. And if you're not a big fan of Facebook, we totally get it. We do have a Discord. We had a bunch of people join recently, and it was so great to see some new faces join us and some people we've even had on the podcast join us. I think DJ is officially on the Discord now.
Yes!
Yay!
So it's great to see all these people. And while you're on the internet, if you want to support the show, of course, leave us a review. If not, share the podcast with a friend. And we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/cosplay stitch. We need to thank some amazing people, some of which we even got to see at the con. Some of those people being Livy, Yggdrasil. You thought you'd get me. I knew you thought you'd get me. Didn't get me. Dr. Steggy, James Donaldson, Cynics, at Queer Eye Sci-Fi, Hal Kaz, Hot Riku, Rena Mira, Jazzy Kofed, Jaguar Quinn, Gloria Shu, Sudi, Stacy Pitt, Shock H, and Silver Deeds.
Thank you guys so much. Mercedes, we still have our community project going on?
Community project. Let's get those photos in so we can make an epic YouTube video and share our amazing cosplayers and cosplay photographers out there. Again, send those photos to us via the email or through the contact form on our website. And give yourself credit for you in cosplay in the photo, as well as photographer credit.
Yay!
Yeah!
And don't forget, you can check out foxbeautycosmetics.com. That's Fox with 2 X's, beautycosmetics.com. Use the promo code Stitch and Seam, all spelled out, no spaces, to receive 10% off your purchase of all vegan, not tested on animal products. Thanks as always to Macy Roberts for the use of her music as our theme song, and to David Jeffress for his amazing editing. How are your podcasts going, David?
Oh, they're going so great. We talked about Neil Gaiman's The Eternals, and I have some feelings about this one. I spoiler alert, I don't think it's Neil Gaiman's best work.
Oh, interesting.
But I'll talk about why, because I don't necessarily think it's his fault. So yeah, we talk about that on Comic Trades Monthly, where we talk about your favorite comic book collection in a book club format. If you enjoy D&D, we have Dungeons and Chill. And The Last Voice, Season 1 is wrapped up. I'm writing Season 2 right now. What are you doing? Go listen to it. Go listen to it again.
Right now.
That'd be really helpful for me. And then tell us your friends about that one as well, because that one I'm going to shamelessly play wherever I can go.
It's well
Definitely.
worth it. Well worth it. So I was thinking, since Halloween is coming up, I don't know if this episode will air before that, but I always struggle trying to find something to be for Halloween. And I was thinking this year I should be a ghost, because I can have all the booze I want and get sheet-faced.
You're walking a fine line, man.
Sorry, I'm back on my boo sheet.
That's all right. That's all right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Threw off my groove here.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay.
You've thrown off the Paninator's groove.